What up, YouTube? It's your boy Jerome, and I'm here today with the review for Married to Medicine Season 6, Episode 14, and this episode was titled Bottled Up Emotions. So, without further ado, let's get started with the video. And I'm sorry that this video is late. I actually went out last night with some friends. We went to see Creed 2, so that's why this video is up on a Saturday morning. Alright, so I'm gonna start with, I think I'm gonna go in order of the episode today. So I'm gonna start with Dr. Jackie. So Dr. Jackie, she's at her office and she has a patient there. And the patient is from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, our very own Jessica Dime, which I was looking at that like, I was confused. I'm like, when is this timeline from? Because I thought Dime had already had her baby before they even started filming Married to Medicine this season. So I'm completely confused. I don't know if this was a scene that they had filmed before and just threw it in there. I'm just really confused about that scene. But you know, she was talking to Dime. She was asking Dime, has she had any contractions? Dime said she wasn't sure, but Dr. Jack said, well, that means you are not having any contractions, because if you were having contractions, you would know. And you know, in her interview, Dr. Jack is telling us how she's spending more time with Curtis, which I guess that's a good thing for her. But like I've been saying before, she's better than I am, because I don't know if I would have forgiven him for public humiliation like that. And then, you know, she's asking Dime if she's going to have an epidural, and Dime is saying that she wants to have an epidural. And, you know, Dr. Jackie, once again in her interview, is talking about how, she, you know, a year ago she would have preferred to have an epidural right there to numb that pain that, you know, from Curtis. I mean, yeah, Curtis. I don't know. Like I said, Jackie is a better person than I am, because there's no way I just would have been able to 100% forgive him. Like, I can forget it. Well, not forget it. I can forgive, but I don't know if I would be strong enough to be like, you know what, it happened, so let's move forward. I just don't know that I would have that kind of, I don't know if I would have the strength that Jackie has when it comes to this. So my hats are off to Jackie completely and 100%. All right, so next we have Simone and Cecil. So Simone and Cecil, they are going out on a date with one another, and you know, they're back in one house together with each other. And you know, right now, I guess it's a slow start for those two, because you know, Simone still has her feelings about the situation that happened last year with Cecil and his friend Tammy. So she's still kind of stuck on that, and then she also doesn't feel that Cecil understands where she's coming from, because she said in her interview that Cecil and Tammy had went out on a date with one. It's a friendship date, basically. They went out to eat. They went out to dinner, and you know, it was just him and her. And you know, Simone said she was just dealing with some stuff with her family, so she would have preferred for him to be there, which I absolutely understand that. Like, you know, it would have been one thing if he said, "Hey, Tammy, you know, let's me, you, and Simone go out somewhere and do something." That would have been, I mean, still third wheel, but you know, that could have just been something that he could have said, you know, my wife is a little upset right now, you know, she's going through something, let's me and her go out first, and then, you know, I'll try to set something up for the three of us to hang out, have fun, do something. But you know, and first of all, let's talk about that wig that Simone had on her head. That shit was matted looking. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I wish you would take that mop off her head and burn that motherfucker, because it was ridiculously ugly as fuck. But you know, and then, you know, they were also talking about having sex, and I'm like, when I look at Simone, I don't think of Simone as being someone who's sexual at all. I feel like Simone just lays there in bed and is like, okay, Cecil, you done? Cool, I'm going to bed. Like, I just get pillow princess from Simone. And then they also talk about how, even though they were talking about the best friend Tammy, they are in a good place right now with each other. And they, you know, they want to be better than they were before. And like I said, they then started to argue about Tammy. And, you know, Cecil just doesn't understand where Simone is coming from, which, I mean, I guess I can see that, because there's nothing sexual there, but, you know, I don't even know if it was, you can say emotional. Like, that's a friend. So I get Simone's point to an extent, and also see Cecil's side to an extent. And, you know, they also talk about how they don't want to go back to where they were last year. And, you know, Cecil says the same thing to Simone, but she said, I was the only one that got to the point where I felt like that was my only option, which was divorce. And, you know, Simone, while they're sitting there talking, she gets up and she starts going off on Cecil, and then she just gets up and leaves the restaurant. And I'm like, but it really wasn't that significant for her to get up and walk out like that. But I do get, you know, why she did it. So I'm not gonna fault Simone for that, and I'm not gonna fault Cecil for, you know, his part at all either. All right, so next we got Dr. Contessa. So Contessa's at home with her kids. You know, they are. She's doing the kids' hair. She's getting some. I guess she was cooking as well. And Dr. Scott was doing the little girl's hair, and she was doing one of the girls' hair. And then she started talking to the kids about her dad and asking them, do they want her to call Papa? And they was like, yeah, you know, call Papa. So she calls her dad. He answers the phone. And, you know, she's having a conversation with her dad about, you know, when is a good time that he can come out there and spend some time with the kids. Because she said in her interview that he's doing a lot better with spending time with the grandkids. And he's making, you know, he's doing better. Even spending time with her. So she also feels like, you know, when she was a kid, he just probably didn't know how to be a dad, which that is probably 100% true. You do see that a lot, where parents, they were absent in the child's life, but when the child grows up and has kids, they're very much present in the grandchildren's lives than they were, you know, the child's life. And, you know, with age comes maturity in some cases, not all cases, but some. So, you know, he tells Contessa when he'd be free to come down there. So then Contessa goes outside and has a conversation with him because she hasn't really talked to him since, you know, she had her surgery. And, you know, she's telling him how she, you know, the grandkids have been asking about him and they need him. And then she says, you know, your daughter needs you as well. So then she also asks him, how's he doing? And, you know, he tells her how he's doing. You know, she asks him, is he taking his meds and everything? He says, yes. So Contessa tells him, you know what, I'm going to buy you a plane ticket. On this day, you're going to come out and, you know, we're going to see you. So, you know, that's pretty cool. All right, so next we got Mariah. So remember earlier in the season, her daughter Lauren was going through her closet and throwing away, you know, throwing away stuff that she thought made her look like a little kid instead of making her look like a teenager. So today Mariah has a stylist over who has a rack of clothes there, and, you know, Lauren gets to pick from the clothes which ones she wants. So, you know, we see Lauren, he starts showing her some clothes, and, you know, some of them Mariah wasn't feeling, and then, you know, he was like, you know, here, mama, take a sip of your wine and let her, you know, do what she's gonna do. So they, you know, then Lauren starts to look at the clothes. She finds something that she liked, and then he takes out this mini skirt, and, you know, Mariah was like, that's a mini skirt, and then, you know, she was like, but it's gonna come down to, you know, about her kneecaps. So, you know, she tells her to go try it on, and Lauren goes and tries it on, and she looked cute in a little mini skirt. I'm like, okay, you know, it doesn't make her look grown, and it doesn't make her look too young. So, you know, it's a win-win. Actually, all the clothes made, you know, look really good on her. It was just, I was looking at the clothes that she was putting on, like some of the little dresses that she put on, and I'm like, that's not something that you would wear to school. So are you gonna wear that to, no offense, but are you gonna wear it to church? Or you, well, not the one with the back out, but where are you gonna wear that stuff to? But, you know, like I said, she wants to transition from being a child to being a teenager going to high school, which I understand that, because when I went to high school, I threw away a lot of shit that I had, and my mom had to go buy me some new clothes. Actually, we had to buy new clothes because I was taller, and I was taller and skinnier than I was in middle school. So that's really why I had to buy new clothes. And one, because of my age, or, you know, going to high school, literally because I just got taller. But, you know, this is actually kind of like a filler episode until the end of the episode. And even then, that really wasn't a lot to the episode, but we're going to move on. All right, so now we can move over to Toya. So, you know, Toya's at home. She's calling all the girls. She called Simone on FaceTime. She called Jackie on FaceTime. And she called Contessa, but she got Contessa's voicemail. So basically, the reason why Toya's calling all the girls is because she wants to do, remember she talked about how the girls hadn't had a girls trip. And, you know, she wanted to do a winery. So she's calling all the girls to set it up for the weekend for them to go to a winery. So, like I said, she called Simone. And Simone was like, so, oh shit, excuse me. So Simone's like, do you think you should be planning the trip after Antigua? I still cannot get over the fact that they say Antigua. Antigua. It's Antigua. Like, there is a G-U-A at the end of it. Like, gua. Like, Please, let's all say it correctly, but whatever. So basically, Toya is doing this as a redemption from, Antigua, because I mean, remember all the shit that happened in Antigua. So, then she calls Jackie, and, Jackie asks her who she's inviting. She says she's going to invite all the girls, and that includes Contessa. And then she does call Contessa. Like I said, she got a voicemail from Contessa. So we're not quite sure if Contessa's coming, but, we'll see. All right, so now we had this meetup with Dr. Heavenly and Mariah. So they're actually meeting in a church. And, Dr. Heavenly is like, it's about time that she humbled herself and came and talked to Mariah face to face, to put all the issues out there. And, then Mariah comes. Mariah sits down and, Heavenly tells her why they're there. And, Mariah in her interview says she feels like Heavenly. Well, no, she told Heavenly herself she feels like she's genuine, which I don't know how to feel about Heavenly. I really don't. Like, sometimes I believe Heavenly, and then there are other times that I absolutely 100% don't believe Heavenly. So then, Mariah asked the question of, what have I done to offend you? And, Heavenly says that she's lied on her. And Mariah's like, I haven't lied on you. She's like, I just repeated what was said. And, she basically tells her it was retaliation for what she said about Aiden's dick. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, are they about to start arguing right here in the church? But they did not argue. And they kind of moved past that. And then, Heavenly tells her about this journey that she's been on and how it's opened her up to realize that she has suppressed memories. And they show us when she went to Miami with Jackie and Simone about her dad. And then she tells her about her sister, how, she felt like as a kid her sister was jealous of her and XYZ. And then Mariah's like, well, that's not me. First of all, that's not me. And yeah, basically Mariah just tells her that that's not her, and they make up with each other again. And I don't know if this is gonna last, because these two always, apologize for whatever was said, and then the next time you see them, they are arguing with each other. It's a bitch this, your mama that, da 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 da, and da 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 da. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to work out, because also, like I've said before in one of my reviews on Watch What Happens Live with Andy, when it was Mariah and T-Pain on there, Mariah said that Aiden told her to bring the receipts that Damon cheated on Heavenly to the reunion. So I'm not sure where this relationship is current day, even after the reunion has filmed. So not sure, but we'll see, because next week is the finale, and then we have the reunion, which I don't know if it's 2 parts or 3 parts, but we'll see when we get there. All right, and lastly, the girls trip. So all the girls meet up at Toya's house. We have Dr. Heavenly there. We have Dr. Contessa, Dr. Simone, Dr. Jackie, Mariah, Quad, who's on time for once, and Dr. Jarrett was there. And I'm like, they just throw Dr. Jarrett in here so randomly. Like, 1 minute you see Dr. Jarrett, and the next minute you don't see her at all. So I don't know what Bravo is doing with Dr. Jarrett, but it ain't working. I guess it's really not working. We'll see if they try to even bring her back next season as a full-time, they're not peach holder, so she would be a full-time jacket holder, I guess you would say. Interesting. But like I said, all the ladies get there, and they leave. But before they leave, Mariah lets them know that there's something going on with Aiden. So if anything happens, she's going to, go take care of it. She's on call. And then they get in the van, and the party bus. And Simone, she's talking about Cecil. And then in her interview, she's talking about after the dinner that they continue to argue even on their way home, which I'm like, fuck. So then Toya is talking about how she feels like all the girls in the bus should be able to get something off of their chest, which Simone did agree with that. And Simone basically was saying, like, why don't we all say one thing that we need to work on? Bitch, I'm so glad Simone said what she needs to work on, because it's something that I think everybody says that Simone needs to work on. It's that fucking screaming that she does, and that I don't care about the cussing. Simone just screams too much for me. Like, she yells too fucking much, and that's the only thing I can do with that with Simone, is the fact that she yells and screams I don't care. Like I said, do not care about the cussing. She can keep that shit, but throw away the fucking yelling and that fucking screaming. And Quad says that she's stubborn, which no shit, Sherlock. We all know that. And then Contessa says, she needs to learn how to assess people. Basically, like if someone says something, how she responds to that. And then, Toya chimes in and asks her, well, what do you need to work on? She said, that's what I need to work on, what I just said. I'm like, oh God, this is about to go left like really fast, because Toya should have kept her fucking mouth closed. And then, Simone then chimes in and says that, basically, in a nutshell, Contessa needs to stop talking behind people's back. And Contessa's like, I don't do that. So then Toya once again chimes her ass back in and says, that's not true, because in Antigua, you were talking about how I hit you in your breast and you felt like I did it on purpose, and then your husband lied, and it was other people there who saw it, and then your husband lied, and then that spiraled out of control. Dr. Contessa started telling her, don't call my husband a liar. Sound like you want to get choked out. I'm like, oh shit, not get choked out. So then they start arguing back and forth with each other. Toya hops up like she gonna do something, ain't gonna do shit. And then, Contessa's like, am I supposed to be afraid of you? I think Toya should have just kept her fucking mouth closed and not said shit at all, and that would have never happened. And then Toya just sitting over there looking at her. I'm like, Toya, who are you scaring? Like, not anybody is afraid of you. Like, what the fuck? Oh, God. God. But also, Contessa said, Toya, if you felt like I said something, if you were apologetic and all that, you could have came to me and saw how I was, and then you don't even know which part of your body hit me. First it's your hand, then it's your elbow. Which one is it? And, they finally make it to the winery, but, that tension was so fucking thick. And then when they walked into that winery, I'm like, those white people look like they have never really just been around a group of black people like that before, because they all stuck out like a sore thumb in that one winery. I'm like, oh shit. So like I said, they all make it there. Everybody is drinking with the exception of Jackie, because Jackie's like, if all these brides get drunk, and they fight, who's gonna defuse it? True. So, then they go outside and they sit, they eat. And then, Contessa brings up, I didn't think we were going to be talking about the husbands. So then she started talking about Toya and Eugene. Oh, God. She talked about Toya and Eugene's BMI. Said their BMI is the same. I said, no. Oh, I was sitting here laughing my ass off. Like, they probably do have the same BMI, though. No shit. Because Toya is short and thick, and Eugene is, rather big too. So they probably do have about the same fucking. Oh no! Speaking of BMI, like I had at my job, we do a biometric screening, so we don't have to incur a $600 surcharge at the beginning of the year. And my BMI, the bitch told me, she was like, they did my weight, they did my height. And she said, yeah, compared to your BMI, she said, you're obese. I said, bitch, where the hell am I? I'm like, where am I? And I asked her, I said, obese, where? Where am I obese at? Like, I'm not. But, she was like, yeah, I know. It don't make any kind of sense, but that's what it says. So then they tried to give me this stuff talking about how to eat better. I'm like, I eat like that now. Like, I can't help it that I'm not as tall as I'm not that tall. And I don't weigh a lot. Like I'm in the low 200s, like maybe 190 something. But when they told me I was overweight, obese, I'm like, bitch, who came up with this stupid ass skill for a fucking BMI? So, once that's over and done with, they do leave that winery and they go to another winery, which I like that winery better. It was a little bit quiet and it wasn't so many people in there. So, as soon as they get there, Mariah gets a call from Aiden saying that his headache is still getting worse. So he's going to go to the ER. And then, we have Jackie and Simone. They are talking. And Simone is telling Jackie how she blew up at Cecil. And basically, Jackie told her not to project onto him her frustrations. Do not project. And I think that is Simone's biggest problem, is Simone projects what she's feeling onto Cecil and expects Cecil to understand what she's feeling. So I definitely agree with what Jackie said. And Mariah then once again gets another phone call from Aiden, and this time it's a really bad phone call because she goes into the bathroom, and while she's in the restroom, she's starting to cry. So then she comes back out, and she tells the girls that he has viral meningitis, and she's like, I need to go, and all the girls are like, no, you're not just gonna go, we're all gonna go with you. And I did like that they all said, you know what, even Quad and Heavenly said, fuck it, we leaving together. So that was the episode. Like I said, next week is the season finale. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys later on tomorrow for Real Housewives of Atlanta.